So Revelations 2:9 calls those Jewish people the synagogue of Satan. That's Revelations 2:9 when it says, I know thy works and thy excuse me, I know thy, I just want to read it real fast and then I'll explain. This
Oh, yeah. You have to explain to me why you read from the New Testament too.
Oh, okay. Oh, you say, why do I read from the New Testament?
Yeah, it's fascinating to
yeah.
from this tradition of Torah to use the New Testament as evidence of a claim if we saying Christians got this thing wrong because they got some scriptures that ain't right in the New. You see what I'm saying?
Right. But okay, so now Christians don't know the Bible at all. And the New Testament is Israelite culture, just like the Old Testament. Like, I don't know, and that's the one thing that always fascinated me about the Jewish man, because the Jewish man will reject the New Testament, but he does follow the Talmud, which is where they get you from your mother. That's very Talmudic. That halakha, everything that they do is primarily Talmudic. So when I read Revelations 2:9, when it says, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, that's talking about us being poor, but we are rich, meaning this culture is what makes us rich, which we've left. And it says, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So that's the Jewish man. The Ethiopian, let's say if I'm gonna just assume that the Ethiopian is an Israelite. When you made an excellent point when you said they don't like them because they are keeping things according to the temple, as opposed to things post or after the temple has fallen.
A rabbi suddenly becomes a central figure.
Right, exactly. So everything about the Jewish man, they don't use Torah. So, like, if you take how you are a Israelite according to the Father, there's 12 tribes of Israel, right? Even the Jewish men say that there were 12 tribes of Israel. All of those are men. So we know that Jacob had one daughter, Dinah, who was attacked by a brother from excuse me, not a brother, but an African, but she never had no son. So there is no tribe of Dinah that exists. So how can they create this all throughout the Torah? It's all about the son, the son, the son, the son, the son. But then when it comes to the Talmud, now it's switched to the mother, the mother, the mother, the mother, the mother. So that would be the first strike. And that's why, and I'll tell you another thing. When I went to Israel, so I went to Israel in 2017. I spent about 15 days out there, and I met this brother. And I always say I'm gonna upload this video, and I forget to upload it. And so I had a full conversation with this brother, and his tribe of people never left Israel. When the second temple fell, they never left Israel. And when a Jewish man came in, they put them in what they call like the prison section of it and kept them there. And so to monopolize on Judaism is why the Jewish man rejects the Ethiopians, not just the Ethiopians. When Ben Amin from Chicago, when they went over to Israel, when they said we're the children of Israel too, because remember, the Jewish man said they're all about the diaspora. They say that they're the diaspora because they come from Russia, from Poland, from Germany. That's where
that's the argument of Zionism is that Jews are a nation in of itself, regardless of where you come from.
Right, except when it comes to melanated looking people.
I always laugh when the Israeli government shows Jewish immigration, and they show the Aliyah pictures of the Yemeni and the Egyptian and then they get to the Ethiopians, and I always ask them, why are the Ethiopians one in color? Everybody else is in black and white. Yeah. It's because they got to come 40 years earlier than the Ethiopians. Yeah. You know.
And if you go into that region, biblically, they wouldn't look like the Jewish man historically. I remember I talked to this Jewish guy. They always tell me the same thing. Yeah, they was dark skinned. They was black back then, but over time they become white. I said, how is that possible when Eskimos still have skin tone? Elon Musk looks white to me, and he's South African. White people have been in Africa for thousands of years. They ain't changed their skin tone. So how do you just go from being one complexion to now you're only this complexion? So the real reason why the Jewish man will reject an Ethiopian, will reject Ben Amin, will reject us, is because they can never tell the truth of who we are. And that's the real argument, because if it was about diaspora and we're saying we the people, why not accept us if it's not about color? That's how you know that everything about them is about color. And then the mother part is because they're Talmudic. They're not Torah keepers. They mention the Passover and they'll talk about Moses and stuff like that, but their practices come mainly out of the Talmud. It doesn't come out of the Torah at all. We come out of the Torah. And one thing I wanted to address again, Christ was prophesied in the New Testament. So when we get to the New Testament, all of that is about Israel too. That's not about God loving everybody. Christ said, I'm only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Paul said, it's my heart's desire for Israel to be saved. So Christianity just made it about everybody, which is why most people reject it. But Christ never came for everybody. Just so everybody can know that too.
If you accept the New Testament, why not accept the Quran?
So the reason we don't accept the Quran is because in order for a prophet to be a prophet of God, you have to be an Israelite first. Muhammad is not an Israelite. And we look at the Quran as a total separate God, total separate belief from the Old and New Testament. The name of the God is different. The practices of both belief systems are totally different. The people are different. So like there's Ramadan in the Quran. Ramadan is not in the Torah. There's Passover in the Torah. Passover is not in the Quran. Christ kept the Passover. Muhammad and them didn't keep the Passover. When they pray facing Mecca. When we pray, we face Jerusalem. The name of the God is different. The Quran's name of the God is Allah. The name of our God is Yahweh. Some may say Jehovah. Some may say Yahweh. So those core things is what separates them.
I guess what I mean is, and I'm not saying this to make a case for one religion over the other at this moment,
Right.
but to say we accept the revelation of Moses, and we accept the revelation of other prophets,
right,
in this religious tradition, and then Muhammad comes and says, "I'm in the same line, right? I'm from Ishmael for sure,
from Ishmael, right? That's correct.
But I'm part of this prophethood, and I'm coming to this Arab nation,
right?
Hence Allah versus Yahuwah, Yahweh, etc.
Right.
But fundamentally, we accept the Injil, the gospel. We accept the Torah.
Right.
We accept all the old books, and now we're saying, here's one more revelation. I guess for me, I'm often fascinated how religious people make the determination to accept this one, because I mean, a believer could say, and I say believer, I mean a Muslim believer would say, well, yeah, Muslims did play the Qibla, the direction of prayer was Jerusalem until
it was for a while,
until Muhammad moved it to Mecca, right? That Ramadan is now the new way but it's still in the same tradition, but we're doing something different. Just like the New Testament represented not a break from the old laws, right? Jesus said, "I didn't come to
break." That's right.
To break those old laws, but there's some new stuff here.
Not necessarily. I don't know of too much new, because even the forgiveness of sins through Christ, that's not new either. But in the beginning of the conversation, I said what makes being an Israelite different is that, and I use Commander Jenny Hott as an example. He didn't come and say, we're going to follow it this way because it's my way. What is written for us is already written. There's a prerequisite for an Israelite, what you believe, how you worship, the name, everything. There's also a prerequisite for how we can accept a prophet for the God of Israel too. So the prerequisite is Deuteronomy 18. He has to be one from among our people. So Muhammad is an Ishmaelite. He's one of the fleshly sons of Abraham, but the son of the promise is Isaac. So for the Israelites, it has to come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So if he's not the son of Jacob, then he can't be a prophet for us. So the difference would be when it comes to the Quran, I don't think they have that boundary that we have. So our God, you know what I'm saying? So our God gave us a limit. Okay, y'all can follow, like, let's say you and I, so like I said, I look at you as an Israelite. So let's say if you came with a revelation and you're an Israelite, I could listen to you. But if this Chinese man comes with a revelation and he comes to you and I as Israelites, he can have that revelation for his people, but that's not something we could follow because our God gave us a prerequisite.